Alright, what's going on, guys? It's Remmy. Mic should be louder this time. I always get complaints about how not loud my mic is, so I moved it a lot closer than me, and I try to turn everything else down. If it is still quiet, then I'm gonna look into some other stuff, but I hope this is good enough. Okay, what I have to do today is the character tier list. So, steeleseries is tomorrow, and then I was supposed to make a character tier list, to compare this to the one I made at first. And now if you don't remember the one I made at first, you can go watch that video, but this is the updated one for how I feel things have evened out, settled down, and how the meta is now. So that's what we're gonna do, and let's get right into it. I'm not gonna stream this, I'm just gonna do it and probably be live later. So if you're watching this, I'll be live on Twitch later because this is gonna go up soon. Okay, so best character in the game has not changed to me for the most part. Best characters are still characters that are able to rack up damage really fast and then just kill you, right? So to me, characters like that are, and this is my #1 pick for best character in the game, it's going to be Sidra. I think Sidra is the best character. She has cannon, has perfect reads on cannon. The end sig is probably like in contention for best sig in the game, and with sword she can easily confirm her kills if she needs to. If it gets to that point where the cannon's not doing that for some reason, it should be doing that, but for some reason it's not, she's able to confirm her kills. She has really nice stats, really good sigs for the most part, and she just does what you need her to do. Okay, so Sidra's the best character in the game, and I'm just going to leave her in her own tier of this is the best character. As we move down, and I'm just trying new tier lists, ways to make tier lists, so as we move down, we're going to now layer it somewhat order, somewhat not. It can be looked at differently. This tier probably won't be used because this is a tier of characters that cannot be played. I don't think there's many characters that cannot be played, and if I'm gonna be honest, I'd rather look at it like right now before we go into S and stuff at what can you not play under most circumstances, right? And that's the thing though, that characters like that don't really exist that much. If I had to just start picking, frankly, characters that are just not smart to pick, they're not a counter pick, they're not good in situations, they're really just not worth playing in tournament, I'd have to go with Linfe, mainly because she's the worst of the cannons. You really should not pick her up if you're going to even play cannon. And even though Stingray would disagree with me and say that he likes the character, I don't think it's worth your time to play Caspian, mainly because both his weapons do the same thing and have the same weaknesses, even though gauntlets are slightly better. So yeah, you shouldn't play that character either. Other than that, I think every character has a reason to be picked. Even Lucian, who I think is really god-awful. Actually, I'll put Ember here too. Even Lucian, who I think is really god-awful, has his times where you should pick him. Maybe on 9 speed and stuff like that. But yeah, other than that, there is no non-viable character to me, and people are going to say she has cannon, so how can she be non-viable? I think she has like the most wasted cannon in the game, and wasted stats in the game, but we're not going to talk about it. Yeah, okay. So into S, this is what I think are characters that are just like, they're not the best character anymore, right? They're not Sidra, but they are there. They're worth picking up. And I'm gonna put Bodvar in right now, right? But I'm not gonna say that there's nothing above Bodvar. Actually, there is something above Bodvar. It's Scarlet, mainly because Scarlet has hammer and lance. You use lance to build all the damage you need up, and then you KO with the hammer. She has solid sig, solid stat spread. She's just really good right now. And right under her, I would say, is Onyx. Onyx has cannon gauntlets. We saw what Sandstorm did with Onyx, so he's a pretty strong pick too. And this is basically going to be the theme for this, where we're going to continue on. Now, if you remember at the beginning of this patch, remember this is the same patch I made a video on before. I put Zal at the top of it. I do not think he stays there, so I'm going to not put him above these characters. I think these characters are better than Zal in one way or another. And yeah, so that's what I think about that. If I had to pick another character that goes up here, I think it's Baraza, mainly because of the signature spread. I don't think Axe is that good right now. You're going to see in my weapons tier list video, if you're watching this one first, or if you're not watching that one at all, that I don't think Axe is that good right now, and I have my reasons for that. If you want to know why, you go watch the weapons tier list video. But I do still think Baraza has something that many Axe characters don't offer in his stats, his Sig's potential, and what he can do as a character. Especially paired with blasters and the blaster Sigs, he really does have that well-rounded Sig kit and well-rounded control that he needs to be up here with the best characters and S, right? If I had to pick another S character that is really just being slept on, frankly, it would have to be Core. I think Core has a lot to offer in the meta. With gauntlets, he's basically Bodvar, except you switch your sword for gauntlets, and whether or not you think that's valuable to you is up for you to grab, but he's definitely just like, if you're going to be picking Bodvar up here, there's no reason you don't put Core up here too. Okay, and that's fine. So I think moving forward, we have to look at what else there is and what else characters have to offer, right? We haven't even gone through all the canon characters, and probably people are thinking, oh, canon's completely broken. Yeah, but that doesn't mean that there aren't answers to canon, there aren't Sig answers to canon, right? So if I had to pick another character to go into S before we move out of this tier, I would probably say it's an Orb character, because I think Orb is... I don't like to say things are being slept on. I think things are being as good as they're being played, and what I mean by that is we're not sleeping on Orb, we just don't know how to play it. No one thinks it's bad, we just don't have any reason to assume it's really crazy, so we just let it be, right? I think Petra has her weaknesses, but she can't be ignored, so she's definitely up here, and she definitely does... This is the really strong thing about Petra, is she is the perfect answer to things like Baraza when they are strong. She has everything she needs to deal with both Baraza's weapons, and I think that's just critical in a meta like this. Same with a character like Scarlet, you pick Petra into it, and I think you can actually have a really good time with it. That's always going to be an amazing thing to have. That being said, I think Thor is also still up here on S tier characters. Perfect stat spread. I will say that his Sigs are okay. Hammer has some good Sigs, Orb I think could be doing better, but otherwise he has a lot to offer. And yeah, so, and like I said, Orb, I really want to see what people come up with that. We just don't know where to put it yet. So obviously Nash is going to be up here too. Nothing has changed about him. Still a stat truck character, just completely broken stats, and two weapons that do things that the other weapon doesn't do. And that, what I mean by that is Spear builds up damage fast, but while it's not a problem to kill, it is not as good at killing as some other weapons. Hammer does not have that problem. Hammer will kill for you when you build up that damage you want on Spear. And that's where I want to leave that this tier for the most part. If we need to come back and I think someone is too good to be an A, I'll put them up here, but for the most part I think these characters are the characters you want to pick into a lot of stuff. That being said, I want to add another character in non-viable. I think Lord Drax is a waste of your time to play for the most part. Nah, he's not like, he's just really bad, but he's like C probably. Okay, Val is definitely going to be here, and so is Hattori, and now I'm going to try to place characters around them on where I want them to be. I think Hattori is just slightly better than Val. Nah, I think that's just personal bias. Val's probably better. Taros, better than both of them, honestly. If you just want to learn how to play Hammer and how to play slow Hammer and use his Sigs, you're going to be having a good time. Okay, continuing with that, let's see what else I want to place in A tier. So I think Zal can finally come in, right? No reason for him not to at this point. Same with characters like Jala. No reason for her not to be placed at this point. And we're also going to go ahead here and place Isaiah. And I think you're seeing a common theme with all the canon characters kind of coming around the same spot. I think Hattori is actually worse than all of them, but Val isn't. And this is funny because I literally just said I think these two are equal. I guess they're not really, so I'm just going to move it down. Now, Orion is also going to go here, and the reason I think Orion goes here now rather than before is because Orion has two weapons, and they both build damage extremely well, both of them. And he does have that problem of killing, except he doesn't, because his Sigs are just so overloaded and they're so good at doing that for him that it doesn't really matter that he can't kill, right? So it's perfectly fine for him to be where he is here. Character I want to move into C right away is Ragnar. I think this character is in not the best spot, and it's kind of sad because he's always up and down. He moves in and out of the meta. Right now I think he's out of it very noticeably, so you shouldn't waste your time playing him. Diana, I think, is a B tier character. I think all the boat characters are B tier characters, if I'm being completely honest. But yeah, character I think is around the same boat as Orion is Vector if you actually want to learn how to use the character Sigs. Yes, he is unironically missing a signature. Like, the Lance down Sig is just unusable, but if you can get past that, it actually is kind of a good character to use. He does lack that kill potential, but that's where the Sigs come in, right? So the bow Sigs are really good, and the Lance Sigs can also catch people off guard. I think Ada is a good pick in A2, very good counter pick, very good situational pick. Has guns and spear and racks up damage insanely fast, has the glass cannon kit, plus signatures can be put in, so it's perfectly fine. I think Lucian will go in C tier, except for certain situations where you want to use him as a counter pick, then you can pull him out. Otherwise, I would say you just don't play that character. Yumiko, I want to put over here too, and you're gonna see A is where most of the characters actually fall into, mainly because B is when you start getting into like, I think Bryn would be a good character to start off with the B tier, right? So the reason I'm gonna put this character here is because I think her hammer is just absolutely insane. While I think bow is just fine because of where all the other weapons are, you don't really have a reason to play bow. But I think the hammer she offers is just crazy, and hammer itself is just crazy. And we saw what Boomy was doing with Yumiko, even though he hopped off her. So yeah, I'm not one of those people that think just because someone has high dex, they shouldn't be played. So I will say that Yumiko is still worth playing. That being said, I want to say Cassidy is also here, mainly because she does have that hammer. She's a bit slower on the speed side, but her hammer is so solid that you can still pick her in certain spots and for certain reasons. Okay, so Thatch, also a B tier character. Just a good sword and another character where you can pick in certain situations. I think Jiro is not unviable, but he's definitely C. Mordex goes in B tier characters, and Queen Nai also goes in B tier characters around Thatch. Very certain situations where you want to pick Queen Nai, and very certain situations where you can just not pick Queen Nai, right? Like against Hattori, I think Queen Nai is really bad. And on Brawlhaven, Queen Nai is always an A tier character, if that makes sense, because you kind of just kill people on orange. So I want to put Zarya in A, mainly because I like his signatures and what they do, but I also think his weapons do kind of lack that killing. I think gauntlets are just kind of insane right now. So a lot of characters can go in A just because they have gauntlets and just because of the power in gauntlets. I want to say this character is a C character, and the reason why this character is a C character, and I talk about it a lot, is because when you see Kaya, you have both her weapons. Okay, both her weapons are zoning weapons that have this problem with killing that we like to see a lot. Not that they can't kill. Like, there are weapons that just flat out can't kill, right? But these are not them. But it is hard to kill. You have to rack up a lot of damage, about 210 to get her kill options across, right? Her Sigs are fine. They're good. They're surprising. But if you are ready for them, you're not getting hit by them. You can see this in sets like me versus Impal at Low Tier City, where after I got a lead for myself, it was just impossible for him to find his way back into the game because you just apply constant pressure, moving in and out of the zones for the weapons, and you can easily just control the space. That's why Kaya will be a C tier character. Her weapons end up doing the same thing and having the same weaknesses. That being said, I want to put this character here, and I think Volkov is the best Scythe character if you're only going to play Scythe. I think Mordex is more worth playing though, if you're going to be looking at what both weapons have to offer. Okay, so we have a lot of gun characters, and the reason I haven't placed any gun characters is because I really don't know where I want them to be, and the reason I just put Assyrian non-viable is because that character's terrible, as you all know, I think. So this character has hammer, so he cannot be less than B, and I will put him at the bottom. I'd put him like here, honestly, probably above Queen Eye. Okay, so we're ending most of them being placed now, and you guys know why I think Asuri is terrible. Two weapons that kill super late, have trouble killing. Unless you're Wrenched, you're really not going to play this character, and Wrenched is honestly pushing her to her peak, and he's doing an excellent job at that. But yeah, Mirage is another pick I think you can only pick in certain spots, so I'm going to put her at, I'm going to put her as B just because her Sigs are still insane though, even though you can only pick her in certain spots. Nyx, being slept on, put him next to Mordex. Cross, I don't know, he has really strong Sigs when they hit, but otherwise they're not really that threatening. I would say Cross is another B tier character. And when you kind of look at it and you look at this top row and then you look at this bottom row, you have to go to yourself and say, okay, do you really believe that all of these characters are better than all of these characters? And then the answer for me is yes, I do. So Roland is, I think, an A tier character, mainly because he has that lance damage and racking up, and he does kind of not be able to kill like Sword. I mean, Sword can confirm kills, but it still has to get a lot of damage built up. The thing is, his trades and his SIGs are pretty good for that, and he's not going to die fast either. While you're not going to kill them that quickly, you're definitely not dying anytime soon, so it is perfectly fine. I think Fate is not... I think her SIGs are still so broken. They're all so broken, but it's not enough. I think Scythe is just not in a good enough spot right now for her to be that viable. Diana, I would put in A tier. Diana is always going to be a solid character, just because of what she offers. Okay, Azoff, I think it's A or B. Maybe, actually, that's good for Azoff. Algrim, A tier character, mainly because his stat, he's just another stat truck, and he can switch to axe to kill when Lance isn't gonna do it for him. Wushang. I think Wushang is a Hattori-like character where it's just you have to play around this. Even though his weapons aren't prone to killing, you have to play around that and you'll be good. Koji, I don't think is worth playing right now, but I'll put him in B. Rayman, I think, is a sleeper character that also goes in B tier. And Dusk is the last character that we will be looking at. Where does he go? So he has a lot of dex wasted, and it ends up making his stats bad. He only has one really insane sig, which is Orb Side Sig. Spear Side Sig can be argued to be good too. I'm not going to say it's not, but I don't think it's to the point where he deserves to be up here with these characters. I think these are the only two Orb characters where you really want to invest the time into. And don't get me wrong, Spear is good, but like I said, not going to really be killing with it, are you? So I wanna give him the benefit of the doubt and put him in A tier. I really do believe. And now we're gonna look at and go from each of them, from top to bottom. Is this row of characters and this character, is he better? Are they better than the character you put below them? Are they? Well, let's go ahead and decide that, right? Is Sidra better than all these characters? In my opinion, yes. I actually think Sidra is better. The problem is just like matchups and counter picks, but I think Sidra overall as a character is the best character in the game and is better than every single one of these characters. I'd hate to see Sandstorm play this character. It'd be absolutely disgusting, but he's playing the next best thing in Onyx, so do I think every one of these characters is better than every one of these characters? Yes, I also think that. Maybe Vector can be argued to be moved down just one bit, but I think people are also kind of ignoring what Vector could be capable of. Bow is just Bow is my only issue with that character. I think Bow as a weapon on its own could use some more looking at, but Lance is just so strong that it doesn't matter. So okay, so I think most of these are in a correct spot, and then you're kind of looking at this group of characters where they have Katars and a second weapon that doesn't mesh well with Katars, and I would say that for the most part this is complete. I don't really want to move anything around. I'm looking at it and there's really nothing I would like to move. If you have any questions or stuff like that, just let me know in the comments. I'm going to reply to all of them. And yeah, for the most part, this is my end of 4.03 tier list for steeleseries tomorrow. I think the reason I made one at the start of this patch and the end of it is because we played 2 terms on this patch. So we don't always do that, but we did this time, so I was able to see how I think the meta has actually evolved and changed over time. Did I put Zal here on purpose? I did, but I think I could move him down if I really wanted to. I'm not going to though. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one and understand why I put everything everywhere. Ask me any questions you want, all that good stuff, and catch you guys in the next one. Later.